Hello, I'm Yana Landown. I go by Yana. I'm from Brooklyn Meeting. I've been an activist for a long time, mostly, well, all the things, but lately getting into environmental activism, and I've joined with Extinction Rebellion, which is an exciting movement, nonviolent civil disobedience movement. I did a lot of activism, a lot of street activism, and was finding that the messages weren't coming across clearly, and that the crowds were getting more and more violent. And so I found for myself that combining art and activism and creating activist events with others that have very clear messages that no one can misinterpret are really helpful. I want to promote art for activists and activists for art, to work together with those ideas, because messaging can just be so much clearer in that way. And the idea is you think of what you want to say, and then you think of how can you say that visually, and how do you make sure that it's really communicating the idea that you want to communicate. Because it's very easy to think an idea is a good one, and it might communicate the wrong message. So being able to think through that. And the reason I'm so mindful of that, I guess, is because I come to all this through theater. I'm a theater director and performer and an interactive artist. So I really believe in engaging people and getting people to feel empowered in whatever it is they want to do. And I like how activism can do that. One of the things I was part of was a group called Billionaires for Bush, and we would dress up in thrift store finery and show up at protests and have the protesters yell at us, and we would be a foil for them so that their message could be clearer and more persuasive. So, like with the Raging Grammys, we were there so that they could yell at us, and we would be a foil back to them, or there would be two protesters from both sides in opposition, and we'd find a way to get in the middle, like a rodeo clown kind of, and change the narrative so that the message could come out clearer. One of the troubles with protesting is it can often come across as people very angry yelling about something, and it's hard for people to hear that and let that in. It's been undercut a lot socially. So if we can take that energy and add a frame to it, or add a way of just making sure that message doesn't get missed. So another project we did was called at Brooklyn Meeting was called Unite in Light, and we made up light up signs and walked over the Brooklyn Bridge, bringing light and love to Manhattan. I loved that because it was also intergenerational, and I think there's a place in activism for all generations to come together. Thinking about activism and Quakerism, being a Quaker and being an activist, and how it's easy in street and crowd protests for it to get very angry, and people chanting things in this sense of just deep anger, and how can we as Quakers stand in our faith and not fight fire with fire, but with love and with a strong presence of standing up for what we believe in. So I found myself doing a lot of regular activism and realizing that through using my creativity and collective creativity of the group, that we could really communicate messages much, much clearer. We all have so much creativity to offer that it's wonderful to be able to use that when you're putting your messages out in the world.